Hi. Oh, just wait. I think it's starting. It is. Hello. Hello. My name is Julie Anderson, and this is Deepak Saini.
Hi, everyone.
And Deepak is a health, performance, and longevity coach, and you can find him at www.deepaksainihealth.com. Did I get it right, Deepak?
Yeah, that's right.
I probably don't have to say www, but there you go.
No, I don't think anyone has to say that anymore.
I know. I'm like dating myself. Deepak, thank you so much for offering to do this interview because this is so timely and you're going to help a lot of people. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
I hope so, and I appreciate you having me again. It's always a good time when we get together, for sure.
It's okay. So the topic today is going to be boosting your immunity during I can't say it. COVID. I'm going to say COVID-19 and ideas to keep your kids busy during self-isolation. So Deepak, help us out, please.
Sure. So first of all, right off the bat, as you mentioned, health, performance, and longevity coach. Help people with various things, just get better performance, etc. I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I'm not a coronavirus expert. That being said, it's obviously health related, so I've been reading a lot up about it. But what I'm going to talk about is kind of just more, almost in a general sense. Obviously, bottom line, people follow your guidelines, follow the guidelines, follow what the health professionals are telling you, etc. Social isolation. We're practicing that ourselves, with the exception of having to restock perishable items, etc. Wash your hands. We all should know this. We learned this when we were 3 years old, how to wash your hands. So why this is a big thing right now, I'm not really sure. But wash your hands. Sneeze into a Kleenex or into your arm or what have you. These are just common things we should all know. So like a week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, when it was really starting to come to North America and into I live in Canada, so into Canada, sort of on the other coast. But it's starting to come in. I started really, and I was getting links from all the people. So actually, I'm actually going to go look up the World Health Organization guidelines for this and Health Canada, where I live, etc. And all those things I just said, wash your hands, all contact, etc. All those things. But there was not a single mention of just very, very basic things that we should just be doing in the winter time anyway to boost our immunity. Number one. So that's I don't want to say it necessarily pissed me off, but I think it was totally something that's just missing, regardless of coronavirus or, whatever, anything. We should just be doing these things in the wintertime, especially if you live in a northern climate like I do, just things to boost your immunity general. So that's what we're really going to talk about here for the most part. So just another thing I want to mention, maybe a lot of people don't know this, and actually I don't think you know this, Julie. So I chronically suffered with sinus infections and bronchitis and all that, all through growing up. And I get sick when I got to an adult, I'd be sick like clockwork, 3-4 times a year. It would just knock me on my butt. I'd be sick for 3-4 weeks at a time, enough so that I couldn't train. When you're coughing so much, it's hard to do exercise when you're coughing so much. So when I started my health journey, and people can certainly reach out or go to my website and you can read more about me. When I started my health journey in working with some naturopathic doctors, etc., we tweaked some of my supplementation. We added some things we'll talk about here in a minute. And also, nutrition. Nutrition was a big thing for me to really turn my life around and turn my health around. But that being said, once I started my journey to health and started getting regularly tested, blood work and that sort of thing, I have always been, at least the last 5 years that I have hard data, really low on white blood cell count and low on platelets, which is a sign of immunity, having those in high numbers. So done things, and I was below normal, we don't know what's going on. So I've done all these testing over the years. I've seen specialists, hematologists, etc. I got tested to see if I have leukemia and all these or sort of things. Thankfully, knock on wood, it's all come back negative. But that being said, doing all these things that I do, that I practice now, has just barely got me into the normal range, but the very, very low end of normal. So, okay, that's great, but I don't want to be normal. I want to be exceptional, and that's what I work on with my clients, to be exceptional. So I'm still trying to figure that out for myself. But I just put that out there as a caveat that I'm not just, just here, this is what I found on the internet or whatever. This is stuff that I employ with myself to boost my own immunity. And that, because from where I'm coming from my starting point, I think also, again, in general, just people should just know and should just do naturally in the winter time. So in the scope of many people, if not, I think almost nearly the whole world now is in social isolation or lockdown or whatever you want to call it now. So I'm going to assume most of the people watching this are going to be in that same boat I am. My wife's working from home. I work from home quite a bit, but even meetings and appointments and some of the clinics where I contract out, they've been closed. So I'm just at home. The kids are off of school, which we'll get to in a second, et cetera. So number one, you're at home now. So, hey, and even if you have to work from home and you can remote log in and all that sort of stuff, you're at home now. Like, sleep, get some extra rest. You don't need to set an alarm. Depending where you live and what your job is or what have you. Just speaking from many of my friends and even my wife, like, that's 2 hours of commute time a day that you don't have to do to still get your work in, right? I'm sure you get extra stuff because you're home with the kids and what have you, but just get some extra rest. Okay, there's nothing better for your immunity than just letting your body rest. Get extra sleep. Now, I get it. We're bored. We're going nuts. There's no sports on TV, etc. I want to binge watch Netflix or the latest movie and etc. That's great, but still go to bed on a decent time, or don't set your alarm. Just get up naturally when your body just is ready to let you get up.
I love that, Deepak, because a lot of things that I've heard has been about stick to your routine, stick exactly to your routine. And I really like how you're saying take the time to get the extra rest, allow yourself to rest.
Yeah, it's so. In general, let's call it probably nearly the whole world, but let's call it definitely Western society. We have this go. I crushed it. I'm doing my goals and this, that, and it's almost like some sub part of that cult, the population it's almost a badge of honor. Like, I only need 3 hours of sleep, or I only need 4 hours. Like, no, you don't. You need more. Come on. It's like, just because you can get by doesn't mean you're performing at the best you can, and definitely not helping your longevity, which is kind of where I play, right? That's kind of what I work on with my clients. But just get extra rest, extra sleep. Number one thing you can do for your immunity. Number two, I get, it's stressful times. We're in unprecedented times. Essentially the last time something like this happened, mass, worldwide, most of the people who went through that are not alive anymore, right? We're talking the, Spanish flu of 1919, and even in, the world wars, which obviously affected a lot of people, is a different scenario. I'm not trying to compare the two, but it's been a long time. Most of us are who are going to watch this video, are going to comment on later or follow up with either one of us later, have never been through this. Unprecedented times. It's super stressful. And especially you want to keep up to date, it's changing daily, number counts, what's going on with the, the schools or work or restaurants closing. You can't, the movie theaters are, it's, you need to sort of keep up with what's going on. But at the same time, you got to detach yourself from all this negativity and all this news and the news cycle. The quote, if it bleeds, it leads, right? The more negative it is, the higher the ratings are, the more eyeballs are, so detach yourself from that. So I'm not saying become a hermit or anything. You kind of got to know what's going on as things are evolving, but at the same time, maybe stay a bit away from the news. That's part of it. But what I'm really trying to get at is just de-stress. So do things that help you calm down, that help you de-stress. It could be, just go for a walk, play with your kids outside, again, in self-isolation or what have you, but still do things. What de-stresses you? Is it reading a good book? Is it, curling up to the fire with a cup of coffee? Is it cooking? Get your mind off of all these things, yoga, exercise. We'll come back to exercise in a second. Just do a lot of things, meditation, breath work, tons of free apps on there, tons of free stuff online, you don't have to spend a penny on that. Even just just doing very simple box breathing, or there's so many techniques out there, and that we could. I don't want to take too long on talking about that. So just really de-stress yourself. Really try and make an effort.
Can you repeat that quote that you said about the if it bleeds, it leads? What is that?
Yeah, if it bleeds, it leads. That's I can't remember exactly who it's attributed to. This is probably from like the 50s or 60s.
Okay.
But basically, it's the news, right? The most graphic, horrific thing always leads the newscast, right? And then you get to the sports and weather and the feel-good stories later, right? But the most sensational, negative thing is what's always the top story.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That's pretty much, that trend started again 50s, 60s, sort of the height of consumerism and marketing and that sort of thing, and it's just stayed with us ever since, right? So I briefly touched about exercise, like keep moving. Exercise can be, exercise in excess is a stressor to your body, and even, I guess theoretically, even a little bit of exercise is technically a stressor, but it also stress relief, get a good sweat on, that sort of thing. So, keep up with your routine. You might be at home. You might not be able to go. All the gyms are closed. You can do exercises at home. Just do very simple stuff. Push-ups. Lunges. Etc. There's tons of free stuff online too, right? I even know like some of my friends sort of more of a sort of personal training space. They're putting a lot of free stuff out there just to help people get through. So there's plenty of stuff out there, a lot of resources out there free, so you can still do your workout at home. And I was actually talking with somebody earlier today who's working from home. So it's they don't have to do their commute, they don't have to do their walk from the car to the office. They don't, the bathroom's a lot closer. You're calling someone, you're not walking to their office. And, so they're still getting their work done, but it's like, oh, they're barely moving at home because they're only moving to like go to the bathroom and get something to eat. And, so it's like, well, you need to, and this one person in particular, they're not a heavy like exerciser. They just like to walk a lot. They get a lot of it just going to and from the office, that sort of thing. So it's like, but that takes that away. Now you're just becoming, sedentary more so. So it's like, okay, I was, trying to advise this person, like, you need to find that time. I'm not saying you got to spend an hour, that you would have done those activities, but, even just move a bit more, even 15 minutes, get a little bit of a heart rate up, get a little bit of sweat going on, just help you de-stress. The next thing I want to discuss is just food in general. So hopefully this is not a surprise to anyone, but when you eat healthy food or food that's healthy for you, you feel better and helps your immunity. So, I was at the grocery store, I guess 2 Fridays ago now. So sort of at that, and where in my community was kind of just the beginning of the hoarding the toilet paper and mass rushing out to the grocery store and etc. So it was just regular grocery day. So we just had to go out and all the things that were like besides the toilet paper and all the vitamins being gone, which I'll get to in a second. Ichiban noodles, pasta, chips, granola bars, potatoes, flour, all the baking things. That was all the stuff that was gone. There was plenty of fruits and vegetables and meat. Actually, that's not true. Some of the chicken was all gone and stuff too. But there was no shortage of fruit and vegetables. It was plenty there. So I'm thinking like, what are these people, and we don't know how long this is going to last, right? I'm hoping it's a 2 or 3 week thing, maybe a month. We all self-isolate. The curve, so to speak, and I don't want to get into technical about, the statistics and that sort of thing, but it sort of flattens off. We can sort of maybe get back to a little bit of a normal type of thing. So who knows how long it's going to last, but, just loading up on like chips and junk food and all these really, highly processed and carb heavy type of foods, like that's not doing you any favors. If anything, if that's not your normal, maybe it is a little bit here and there, but now you're going more so into processed foods. You're actually harming your immune system. You're making yourself more susceptible to catch not only COVID-19, but any other virus that might be going around in the winter season, right? So if anything, should be cleaning up your diet more so, more fruits and vegetables, healthy fats, meat, bone broths, soups, that sort of thing. Actually, I would even suggest, I mean, I fast anyway, so I only have 2 meals a day. And I've been home with the kids and that sort of thing. So I'm not really expending as much energy running around to see clients and that sort of thing, because that's kind of all sort of shut down for me. But I'm just extending my fast, like, and nothing too crazy, just 2 hours longer a day, and making my eating window shorter. So even if you don't want to fast and you're kind of a sort of more typical person, just just don't eat right away as soon as you get up, or extend your breakfast by a couple hours, and just get some of that the benefits of fasting, which that's a whole nother topic for another time. But just do that. There is a theory called sort of the metabolic theory of disease. That glucose, sugar, carbohydrates, is actually feeds a lot of the mechanisms for disease. I think a lot of people would agree with that. So again, I'm not going to get too technical and too sciencey on that topic, but really, what you fuel yourself with is what's going to come out in your health, right? So that'd be another thing, is just eat healthier foods, like and vegetables and fruits. Have a lot of vitamins and minerals and nutrients and stuff that we need. We should be extra doing those things. Like, I'm not going to give anyone advice per se, but when I did go there, like I mentioned, to the grocery store, and all the stuff was gone, stuff that I wouldn't eat anyway, that we don't buy in our household. And I'm not judging anyone who wants to eat that sort of way, but we just loaded up on like peppers and apples and carrots. And so, like, when we're hunkered down and the kids want a snack, like, we have plenty of stuff. So if anything, I think we're eating we eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and stuff to begin with, but I think we're just doing like just a tiny bit more even. So that'd be the next thing. And then sort of I guess the last big topic is actually supplementation. And I know we've had a conversation before on the supplements. I have a plan to be a highly functioning centenarian. We've had a video on that before, in the supplements I take. So I won't beat that to death, but essentially there's some of the supplements that are good immune boosters anyway. I would suggest anyone takes these, and again, depending where you're coming from, what your conditions are, you should be taking them year round, like I do. And I sort of mentioned what I suffer with and why I keep that part of my arsenal, if you will. But definitely in the wintertime, you should be doing a little extra boost, right? So vitamin C, number one. Zinc, just, I guess, just all around good, all your B complexes, just for general health, but vitamin C and zinc for autoimmunity and immune boosting for sure. And then going back, I'll juggle back and forth between supplements and kind of food here, but just foods like onions, garlic, mushrooms, leeks, all those kind of things have a lot of good compounds. Incorporate them into your food, excuse me, when you're cooking, just to get some of those really good benefits in there. I think we had a question about elderberry. Yes. Elderberry syrup, or I've never actually seen elderberries in wild, so I don't know if you can even get them, but yeah, okay. Get a concentrate, get a syrup, pills. I have pills. I'll take them when I want that little extra, if I feel maybe something coming on. So I don't feel anything coming on now. I very well could have COVID-19. I have no idea. I think I'm a relatively healthy person. I could be a carrier. I don't know, but I'm taking precaution. So I'm taking all the little extra steps. I'm up in my vitamin C. I already take quite an array of supplements to begin with, but I'm up in my vitamin C, throwing in the elderberry in, throwing the oil of oregano in, which would be another thing that people could try as well. And I just got a couple other things here. Sorry, just looking off some notes. Yeah, just the foods. I kind of go back to them. Foods that are high in vitamin C. I mentioned the peppers earlier. Citrus fruits. Broccoli has some vitamin C. A lot of vitamin A, vitamin E. Vitamin E would be another one. If you want to supplement. So I alluded to earlier. I'll just tie two thoughts that I mentioned earlier. So one, when I looked at the World Health Organization, no mention of boosting your immunity. Health Canada, whatever the equivalent is in the United States that I looked at as well. Nothing about doing any of those sort of things, which just kind of just floored me. But that being said, so again, sort of a week and a bit ago, the first time I went to the grocery store when it sort of kind of really the panic or the frenzy really hit my area, and I just needed zinc anyway. I was just low. It was just time to buy it anyway. I wasn't even thinking about stockpiling or anything like that because I guess kind of still hoping this is like a 2 to 4 week kind of thing. But doesn't matter what brand, what cost, what quality. There was no vitamin C. There was no zinc. All the multivitamins were gone, and and bits and pieces of some other ones, and then sort of the more more specialized, or I don't want to say useless, but depends. Some are useless, but depending what conditions you have or what you might be, your goals might be. Some of those were still left. I went just yesterday actually, to again just a regular weekly groceries. When you eat a lot of perishable foods, you have to replenish weekly. I went back, and there's even more so decimated. So at the very least, at least some people are getting the message that they should be taking extra vitamins. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm not happy that I wasn't able to get anything that I wanted from that, but at least the masses, or at least that go to my grocery store, are at least using those things to help boost their immunity. So again, food, number one, nutrition, good sleep, and de-stressing yourself through various techniques. I personally use breath work and meditation as my de-stressor. Plus I exercise too. I've been keeping up, and actually I've been even not going crazy or anything, because again, too exercise in excess can be a stressor, but I've been just upping a little bit and trying to keep my movement. I'm stuck in the house, go outside, play with the kids, but just trying to move around as much as I would normally, as if I was out going to client meetings, walking here and there, but that sort of thing. So I'm trying to keep that up at least. For sure. So that's kind of my take on sort of how to boost your immunity at a high level. Julie, did you have any questions, or did you have any questions come in?
I guess just maybe I'll expanding just on that one question. So this is from Rosie, who had asked about the elderberry, and then I know that you're not an expert, but she said also, I have a compromised immune system already, allergies and COPD. Do you have any kind of insight or tips or anything for her?
Yeah, I think in a general sense, right? I'm not giving medical advice here, but I think in a general sense, again, elderberry, really good.
Okay.
And all the other things I said as well.
Okay.
Astragalus is something that I take. That's another supplement that one could take. You could even, if you want to get a little more exotic, a little bit more spendy, you could do glutathione or NAC or ALA, which again are all topics that we talked about. There's things that I take that we talked about last time about the supplements I take. So somebody could always go back and go to your feed and see that, Julie, or my YouTube channel or what have you, and catch up and watch that one if they want. But I think those are all general. Will help Rosie. So thank you for the question, Rosie, for sure.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Some of you might notice I'm in breaks. I'm having some tea here. So I'm actually having a 16 mushroom blend tea. So again, I mentioned mushrooms, so immune boosting. Not only also good for cognitive function. So I really take it. I try and have it at least one a day, or at least every second day. I actually take it for cognitive function, but in this time, hey, the immune boosting doesn't hurt. A nice warm drink with all these good phytochemicals in them.
It's the famous mushroom tea that you drink.
Yeah. So I guess the other topic I want to talk about is, I guess, how dealing with the kids during this time. So again.
Yes.
I'm not here to give parenting advice by any means. You got to do what works for you and your family. And of course, we're going to all have kids of different ages and different abilities and that sort of thing. I have a lot of teachers in my family, but I am not a teacher to that degree as sort of like children. Obviously, I teach and I work with my clients, but I don't teach children. But this is just what we've chosen to do, and some maybe suggestions I would have for people out there. So as best as we can, we've tried to have sort of a normal routine. So we sort of made out a schedule that the kids helped build. We'll work on math at this time, and then we'll do social studies, and then we'll do fun stuff, and we'll have gym time or movement time, etc. One thing that we are doing is, because of, and at least in our household and probably many households as well, we have commitments. My wife has to go to work and I have to go to meetings or what have you. So our kids typically go to daycare before they go to school. So of course that's all closed, so they're home. So, but we've, again, back to my sleep reference, we're letting them sleep in and wake up whenever their bodies tell them they need to wake up. Mind you, they're probably going to bed. We're trying to keep their bedtime relatively close, but it might be a little, maybe half an hour more, just because we're doing activities as a family. But we're letting their wake up when their bodies are ready, and then we'll have breakfast. And so when we're starting a day, it's a little bit less regimented. So after that's all done, whether it's 9 o'clock, whether it's 9:30, whether it's 10 o'clock, then we'll sort of start into our day, our lesson plan, if you will. So it's only been a week that our schools have been closed. We've only had 5 days of this experiment. So what we found is, can't push them too hard, right? When they get bored, they got to move on and that sort of thing. We're incorporating a little bit more gym and a little bit more dance class and art and stuff than we would maybe have, that we had scheduled out. And again, the kids made the schedule themselves.
That's cool that you did that. Like, I noticed that right away when you said the kids helped build it. That was like, that's really cool.
Yeah, I figure, they got to have buy-in, right? It's like anything. Yeah. You're gonna make a change on people, whether it's your employees or clients or your spouse, whatever. Like, you got to get buy-in from them, right? So we let the kids in, and my older daughter, she's like, yeah, I want to do math. The first thing I want to do is math. Then I want to do writing, and then snack, and then so on and so forth, and have a full day plan. But because we've been very flexible with our wake up time or our start time, we're getting a little bit behind. We don't get to the things kind of in the afternoon. We're trying to cut it off sort of as normal would be, sort of that 3:30, 4 o'clock at the latest, when school would normally end. But one thing that we did, that was on my insistence, that the kids bought into for sure, was what we are calling a period of self-care. Now, in my opinion, I think this is something that should be incorporated in all schools. A lot of private schools, sort of in the Western world, have incorporated things like this. I think it should be in public schools, but I'm not a policymaker. But so, what does self-care mean for how we're doing it? So, it either means they're either going in the infrared sauna, they're either doing yoga, or they're doing meditation or breath work. So one, I think, is to de-stress them a little bit from what's going on, boost their immunity and their resiliency and their mental health, but also building a good foundation for them for these practices that hopefully then they carry on for the rest of their life. Like a lot of these things, I'm just about, I have to double check, about 3 years into a daily meditation. So I've been meditating for almost 3 years.
Congratulations. That's a big deal. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Doing some more breath work. That's something I've been playing around with recently. Sauna. I've had my sauna now for going 2.5 years. So that's become daily, or almost daily when I'm at home. So these are just really good practices for health in general, for boosting your immunity. So I just want to instill that into them right now. So it's not, they don't have to be in their like 30s and 40s when they start picking up these things. So that's something that I insisted on, and they bought into that for sure. They don't always like going into the sauna. I got 2 girls, so they don't like getting sweaty in the sauna, but they still do it, and they like, they don't mind meditating, and these are very short sessions, right? We're talking like 5 or 10 minutes. The sauna will be like maybe 20 or 25, depending. So that's something we've incorporated just to get them, positive things for them. The other thing too is and I've seen this on Facebook and other people are doing it, which is awesome. Sort of teaching your kids. Again, we don't know. We're recording this in sort of late March. The school year, at least for elementary kids, which my kids are, sort of ends in June. So there's a couple months still to go. We don't know if we're going to come back. If we're going to come back this year or in a month, schools will be open again. We have no idea. So I can see a lot of people like, hey, we don't want to fall behind. We got to keep up with and that we're kind of in the same boat. We got to still practice our math and do our reading and etc. But also I see a lot of other parents doing other things too, life skills, which is totally great as well. Like teaching them how to cook, or like helping with the cleaning, or helping with the laundry, or what have you. Like, arguably those things probably kids, depending on age dependent, should be helping around the house anyway, but this is a perfect time to even instill it more. So one thing that I had, we're kind of halfway in between with my older daughter, who's 9 years old, is actually having her, so putting math and writing together is going through and balancing our monthly finances. So I'm
That's so awesome.
teaching her how to do it. We're only halfway through. So right now she's kind of in the recording stage. So she's working on her handwriting and then adding up, categories of costs. And then probably on Monday we'll get back to it and adding it all up and, okay, here's how much, as a family we spent in the month and under what categories and where do we spend all our money, and get her thinking about that. I think she's at the right age to understand that. And also my plan is, even though I think at least Canada and the US have all pushed their tax deadlines out and that sort of thing, I was like, I have everything to do my taxes now. Pushing it out a month or 6, whatever, I don't know, it doesn't really benefit me unless I just get it done. So at some point, probably in the next couple of weeks, we're going to sit down and again with my 9-year-old, I'm going to have her, and I always do one of those online programs. I'll bring out all the T forms and all that sort of thing, and actually show her where to input it and all that stuff, and show how it all calculates itself. And then here's how much was deducted at source, that sort of thing. And
I want to be there when you're teaching. It's like, can you
come on over?
Like all these people be like, I would like to know how to do that. Like, I'm not 9, I'm turning 45, and I would like to know that.
Come on over, Julie. We'll make the whole thing. We'll even film it, and I'm sure we could probably even do a funny TikTok on it too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but anyway, that's another thing I plan to do as well. And I've also seen some things where at this time it's really stressful, and the kids like don't be too worried about screen time and that sort of thing. And I totally agree. And there's tons of a lot of cool things that are like the San Diego Zoo's got like an online tour, and museums are doing a lot free virtual tours and all this stuff's coming up. That's all awesome, and I think it all plays a role. And I've probably in the last day even changed my mind a bit more on it as I've looked at some more stuff, and people are forwarding me things, or I'm seeing things online where again, it's really tough to teach like a 9-year-old science. I'm like, I don't even know what the curriculum is for that type of thing, and and things like that. So I think in some of those cases, some more sciencey one, at least in our case, that'll be helpful, where put them in front and watch a video of that sort of thing. That being said, this is just us. I'm not trying to give advice here. Already our kids get enough screen time when it's mom and dad are making dinner, or we both are we're both at home now, and my wife's working, and I'm on a call, virtual call with one of my clients or something, and so they have a little bit of free time there. They're already on screen, so I'm trying to keep it to a minimum as far as the education part. But I could see going a little bit more where there's, especially if this drags on, the school's being closed, drags on longer, where I don't have the capability or the confidence to teach them for their age level. I really don't remember, grade 3, grade 4 science. I barely remember university science. That was like 21 years ago.
I barely remember yesterday.
Yeah. What did I have for breakfast?
What am I wearing now, right?
Yeah. Weren't you wearing that yesterday? No, just joking.
Exactly.
So anyway, so that's just some of the things, I guess just keep your kids busy, keep them active. There's lots of funny memes out there from parents putting out there how they, or the kids are driving them crazy, and where are the grandparents, and et cetera, et cetera. Those are all funny. But the reality is we don't know how long it's going to take. We're going to be self-isolating within our families. And at least we've taken the stance, we want to keep them going with their education at least a little bit. So yeah, we're not quite meeting and again, it was set by my daughter, the schedule. We're kind of getting about only half to 2/3 of it done every day, but it's better than nothing. And yeah, so that's my take, so I guess the big takeaway from that is, keep your kids engaged, things that are going to, hold their attention, and also where you can, weave in maybe some life skills, whether it be cooking, cleaning, sewing a button, how to sew, or assuming the parents know how to do it. I don't know how to sew, so I can't do that. But, things like that, finance.
I could teach you how to sew if you could teach me how to do taxes.
Oh, bang, trade off.
It's only a button though.
Trade off, yeah. So, or hem pants or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I still, well, I rarely buy, hardly ever buy new clothes. This is a maybe not. People think this is probably a stupid story, but when I sometimes do, buy pants, and sometimes like, you don't get the match. The length is too long to match your waist, and as I went through my health journey and I like dropped sizes so much, you're always like looking at waist kind of fit, but then oh, they're too long, and like, oh, to pay the guy at the store for $12 to like tailor them, or like, nah, just take them home. And it depends on what kind of pants too. You can't just cut them and have the frayed bottom if they're sort of more of a professional pant or like a dress pant or something like that. But I was like, I don't know how to sew. I was like, my mom is still alive, so I was like, Mom, can you sew the bottom of my pants for me? I don't know, but yeah, you trade off. You show me how to sew, I'll show you taxes.
I only know how to sew a button. I'm like, it's a very low. I can show you how to TikTok. That's what I'm comfortable with.
Yes,
I can do that.
Yeah,
that's better.
Sure. For sure. So, so in a nutshell, again, I'll just maybe sum it all up.
Please, yes.
It's unprecedented times, for sure, but we got to really, what's good for our immunity. Oh, there's one other thing. Sorry, I don't want to go too long here. One other thing that I forgot. Not only when people do get the COVID-19 and it gets into the lungs, it is a respiratory disease, right? So, it affects your lungs, cardiovascular system, et cetera. So, I would say just in general, you don't want to really affect your lungs in general, but like, even if people are, you need medical cannabis or whatever, not judging, like, maybe now is not the time to be, smoking pot, take it orally or sublingually or, transdermally or something like that, or, even burning incense, maybe if that gets in the Zen mood and sort of, calms you down, like, okay, that's one benefit, but it's also you're breathing that in. So maybe you don't want to do that. And this is one that came, kind of, I guess it was really the day before, I guess our daycare closed. They were, really wanted to disinfect but in a quick manner, right? So there's a lot of surface area in a classroom, desks and cabinets and chairs and carpet and blah, blah, blah. So, getting the hand sanitizer or the Lysol wipes or whatever, that would take a long time. I totally get it. But they use this aerosol like disinfectant spray, just try and like blanket everything. But like, you're literally like breathing that in. I was like, I just came to pick up my kids and like my throat was burning.
Oh man.
I was like, what are you guys doing here? Like, so, the point being is like, you're trying to solve one problem and you're creating another problem. So it is a respiratory, if you do catch it and your body can't fight it off and you get, sick from it, it is a respiratory condition. So don't do things that are already going to compromise your respiratory system. So that's the one big thing that I meant to mention earlier. So in a nutshell, you want to boost your immunity as you would for any flu or any cold and flu season all the time. So eat healthy, supplement, with, the few things we talked about, a little bit extra. Even if you're not into big supplements or whatever, hey, that's fine. Unprecedented times, it's not going to kill you, right? If your body doesn't need it, you'll just pee it out.
Right.
Side on, on the err on the side of caution is what I would say. It doesn't hurt to take a little bit extra vitamin C. And I've boosted my kids. They already take multivitamins and vitamin D. And vitamin D is another one I don't think I mentioned, but that's super important. For those of you who don't live in the frozen tundra like I do, and you live in more southern and spring's already happening, even if you're self-isolating, get outside, get some sunshine, get some sun on your skin. It's too early in the season. You're not gonna burn. You're not gonna get a sunburn or anything like that. That's not an option for me because it's even just a couple days ago it was like minus 20 Celsius. So I can't get that. So yeah, we supplement with vitamin D. The kids are taking extra vitamin C right now. They're taking an extra dose right now, even though we're self-isolating. Who knows, right? So better to be safe and de-stress. De-stress, meditate, whatever it is for you that gets you calm down, do it. It could be cooking, could be drawing, painting, meditation, whatever. And then sleep. In general, regardless of COVID-19, flu season, we all need more sleep anyway. Get some more sleep. That's it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Deepak, thank you so much. You always provide so much value, and it's common sense, easy things that everybody can grasp and do and implement. Thank you so much, Deepak. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate your time and letting me be a platform for this. And I know you're going to post this, and I'll post this as well. If people have comments or other questions on, I'll check over the next couple days and try and answer any follow-up questions.
And where can people, if they want more, they want maybe to hire you as a coach, and they want more information, what's your website again?
Sure. So it's Deepak Saini Health. So my first name is Deepak, DeePak. SAINI, DeepakSainiHealth.com. I have a YouTube channel, Deepak Saini Health. I can be found on Twitter at DSainiHealth, and then I can be found on Facebook.
And I'll be posting that in the description too when I post this on Facebook.
That's awesome. Too, so. And I'm also on LinkedIn as well for more. If there's some people who are more on the sort of who use LinkedIn or more professionals or type of thing. There's a lot of similarities between the different platforms. Some have different things, so it doesn't hurt to if you like what I'm saying and you want to follow me, it doesn't hurt to follow me in a few different places. Sometimes I post different things in different places.
So much value, Deepak. So much value. Thank you so much. And can I ask you if you would do this? Would you be open to doing another interview at another time?
Oh, you bet. Always. I love these conversations we have. I love your energy. I gotta get myself one of those Julie power drinks. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
They're all sold out, I guess, at the store. I haven't.
They were the first to go.
They were the first to go. The Julie energy drink. Anyone watching this, if you don't know what we're talking about, you need to go back and look at some of Julie's earlier stuff from maybe 2 weeks ago or so. But she has her own energy drink. Amazing. Yeah.
So awesome. Okay, we need to finish off with the special thing that you do.
All right. Here we go. Boom.
Boom. Yes, my friend. Deepak, thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I hope you and your family are safe and healthy. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Everyone out there, stay safe. Listen to the guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you, Deepak.